Hello, hello. Welcome back to Lead Your Life with Debbie Heiser. I am Debbie. I am a coach, mentor, lover of big vision, deep healing for people, and the kind of clarity that ignites real sustainable transformation. And today's episode is about something I absolutely adore: big, juicy goals. Now, not the boring checklist, smart goals. I hate smart goals, to be honest with you, but the goals that grab you by the soul and say, hey, remember who you are. So let's dive into this week's episode. Welcome to Lead Your Life, the podcast for people who are seeking harmony in business and in life. My name is Debbie Heiser, and I'm an inner mastery and business mindset coach and the chief igniter here at The Lit Up Life. I feel an urgency to help people let go of past messaging so that they can make a lot of money doing what they love without sacrificing what they value most. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Straight from the corners of my mind. We are talking about big, juicy goals and goal setting. And I have learned through time that most people set their goals with their brains. And we're going to talk through that. They look at the logical, they look at the linear, what's predictable, what do I want to do? But the truth is, the goals that actually change your life are set with your body, your identity, your emotions, all along also with your vision and your belief system. So there's a lot there. And I don't know about many of you, but I have had New Year's resolutions and goals where I like started off strong and then I kind of burnt out on it. And that's because I hadn't embodied them. Because these big, juicy goals, you see, you feel them before they arrive. You understand how it feels. You sense the resonance in your chest. I keep pointing to my chest for those of you watching the video. You feel your posture shift. You imagine how you walk into a room once it's done. You feel the energy of course, this is who I am. That's what a big, juicy goal is. So today I'm going to walk you through and talk about the neuroscience behind why these big, juicy goals work in comparison to how we've been taught in the past, how tying emotion and then embodiment, meaning you feel it in your body, how that shapes belief, and how belief is really what changes the identity, and your identity is the true driver to change behavior. We're also going to talk about how these subconscious messages influence your results and why these types of big, juicy goals transform all areas of your life, not just one, and then how to create the kind of desire that magnetizes aligned action. So by the end of this episode, you'll be ready to set goals that pull you forward, goals that time compress, goals that change who you are today, not someday. So if you've already created your goals, listen in anyway, because I think you're going to potentially change how you do this. So, what is a big, juicy goal? And I want to define that. It's not the I should do this. I always say if you find yourself shoulding on yourself, that's not a good sign. And ask yourself, I should according to whom? They're also not, I guess I'll try this, or it'd be nice if. It's also not something you want to lose or stop. If you want to lose something or stop something, that's not a goal, that is a task. So big, juicy goals are the ones that they stir something inside of you. They expand your vision. They reveal your growth edges. They light you up and they whisper, you were made for this. And here's the kicker. They change how you behave right now. These are the goals that activate the emotions that we have. They activate our imagination, sensations that we have, our identity, and they help our body to embody what it is that we want. So why is this so important? Well, because your subconscious mind doesn't respond to logic. It responds to emotion, repetition, so this constant source repetition, and imagery. So when your goal is rich with feeling, your brain can finally attach to it, get its arms around it. Your body believes it, hence the law of assumption. Your identity starts shifting and you begin acting as the version of you who already has it. This is why safe and logical goals don't work. They don't create enough felt sense, enough feeling in you to change anything. So let's look at this identity piece, right? What is this real source of behavior change? So behaviors don't change because you willpower yourself into being different. We've all done that before, where we thought it was just willpower and then we beat ourselves up when we don't do it and we lower our vibration, which then causes us to get further away from our goal. So it doesn't change because of this willpowering yourself into being different, because that burns out. Behavior changes because your identity changes. And this is where people get stuck too. Neuroscience shows that your brain is always predicting who you are and how you behave based on these four things: your past experience, the subconscious messages that you've received through your lifetime, emotional memory, and your internal narrative, which is created by these things. So your brain is always trying to keep you consistent with who you believe you are. And the brain is wired to keep you safe. So, if you believe I'm someone who can't follow through on something, I know I used to be in that bucket. I would have all these projects started and I would start the projects and not finish them. So I had this innate belief, it was very subconscious, that I didn't follow through on things, which wasn't the truth. It just happened to be about those projects. So your brain will generate thoughts and logic, and it'll generate emotions and impulses that match whatever that belief is that you have. So if you believe I'm someone who prioritizes myself, I prioritize my healing and my wealth, your brain begins creating impulses that align to that identity. So when you set a big, juicy goal, what you're really doing is choosing a new identity to align with, and your brain starts rewiring around it. So an example of this would be, for years, I said I wanted to be healthy. Well, I've experienced health. I am healthy. I mean, I'm almost, well, I don't want to say how old I am, but I'm past the middle mark by a few years, and I'm not on any prescriptions. I'm healthy, I'm active. So I get that. That's a part of who I am. But then I thought, okay, well, maybe the goal is that I want to be active with my grandkids when they're older, right? And be able to get up and down off the floor. Yeah, those are things I want to do, but that doesn't light me up. Now, I struggled sharing that for a long time because I thought people would judge me for not wanting to be around when my grandchildren were older. Well, here's the deal. My big juicy goal allows for me to have that as a byproduct. So, my big juicy goal is, I know what it feels like to downhill ski. I know that that is one of the few places I can go where my brain completely shuts off, that I am present in the moment because I'm looking at all of the different things that are happening around me and paying attention to that. I know that exhilarating feeling of the wind kind of blowing the bottom of my hair from my helmet in the wind, the sunshine on my face, the powder that comes up at me. I can feel that in my body. I can feel the emotion around that. That's a big, juicy goal because I want to ski when I can get my free pass at the age of 80. And I don't want to just go up there and have coffee with my friends. I want to be able to take some runs and ski. So that then is an activator for my emotions. And that's what makes it a big, juicy goal. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more here later on how that then impacts the behaviors that I'm doing today. So, why is emotion then the activator? Well, it's because your subconscious mind speaks in the language of emotions. It speaks in the language of images, in our sensations that we felt, and in repetition. The more and more I do things where I'm kind of conquering my fear of heights and repeating that, the less and less fear I have. So when you set a goal that's deeply emotional to you, you create like this neurochemical cocktail that really makes change feel exciting instead of threatening to your brain. Because remember, our brain is wired to keep us safe. Now, what happens too is then your dopamine rises, your serotonin stabilizes, your nervous system opens up, and your reticular activating system begins scanning your environment for those opportunities. I never saw Subarus until I bought a Subaru, and then I saw them everywhere. That's what that reticular activating system is. So you start to see opportunities that you didn't see before. And this emotion combined with imagery and embodiment, that allows your subconscious to have permission to move forward, to feel safe. So, this is really why I tell clients, if you can feel the goal in your body, right? That's really what feelings are. Emotions are happy, sad, glad, whatever, right? But if you can feel that goal in your body, then you can make it happen. And it's not even about making it happen. It happens because of the law of vibration and numerous laws at play. Which, when you think about the law of vibration, whatever that desire is that you have, when you're embodying this, you're emitting a frequency and you feel the outcome now. And when you do feel that, you vibrate at that level. Also, I mentioned the law of assumption because when you assume this identity of the version that already has it, you're vibrating then from that identity. And I don't like fake it till you make it. I think that's unauthentic. I think you be it till you become it. You be that man or woman that has that desire and has already accomplished it, whether it's being a certain way or doing something, whatever that is for you. Now, a couple other laws, it touches a lot of laws, but the few I'm going to highlight here is also the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, because your thoughts then become feelings, the feelings become behaviors, and the behaviors then become results. So it's changing form. It's going from the metaphysical in thoughts and feelings into the physical with behaviors, which creates the results. So the other piece that goes in with this, and we talked a little bit about this with vibration, is this law of attraction. Because when you emotionally embody what it is that you want, both feeling it in your body and the emotions that come with it, and you imagine it when it's done, you draw things towards you. Those opportunities open up and you draw things towards you. And again, these laws aren't separate, there's really a network of them. And it's really the spiritual side of neuroscience. And why do you want to combine both universal law and neuroscience? It's because then you become unstoppable. So, with that, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. I want to give a quick shout out to my favorite online community for women entrepreneurs. It's called Build Her. If you've craved a space to connect with other women who truly get the journey, this is your space. We go live monthly for in-depth training on all things business, and it's where you'll get the latest news from the Lit Up Life first. Plus a chance to swap stories, tips, and triumphs with an amazing community of women. It's welcoming, it's fun, and it's where we cheer each other on through every up and down of entrepreneurship. Join us and let's build each other up. Check it out at thelituplife.com/buildher. Okay, welcome back, folks. Now, we've talked a lot about the metaphysical, making sure that you're feeling it in your body, or embodying what it is that you want and desire as a goal, that you have emotion around it, you've imagined what that feels like. I offer some meditations that help you do that. All of that then allows for this goal to transform every area of your life. So let's talk about what that looks like in the example for me for skiing. So when you set that goal and you start to change how you feel today, it changes then how you treat your physical health. You start moving differently. You treat your body like a partner, not an obstacle. For me, the physical health means I want to be physically active enough so that my knees don't ache or that my body doesn't start to break down, where I can still have the strength to go ski. It also impacts my emotional health, right? Because skiing regulates me differently, right? And knowing that I want that ski pass, I'm spiraling then at a different vibration, and I'm not spiraling downward in that vibration. It also calms my system because I have a why. I understand it. It's everywhere. It's not just a thought in my mind that I have to check something off. So, which leads into your mental health too, because then I start to shift to possibility instead of being afraid of something. So I interrupt old loops that are happening. Now, it also impacts your spiritual health. In this example for skiing, it is a spiritual experience for me, right? Because I start to trust myself deeper. I feel guided. I feel connected to something bigger being out in nature. And by knowing that I'm doing something that will impact me later, and doing the actions today, that is about something bigger. It's also my intellectual growth, right? Like I want to have the wherewithal to challenge myself and learn new things, learn different techniques on the mountain, right? I'm not a big powder skier. I love to ski the runs themselves. And so I'd like to eventually learn how to powder ski. And so that's something that then I can also improve my intellectual health, my relationships, right? What happens here, depending on what goal you have, right? Like for me, it impacts my relationships because my son goes with me. Not always, but he goes with me because I'm also teaching my 4-year-old grandson. I have another grandson that's a little over a year, and in a couple of years, we'll take him up too with my other grandson. So it's enriching those relationships. It's also allowing my daughter-in-law to have a little space for herself when I take them up to the mountain. She's not a skier. I'd love to have her ski, but she's not a skier. Now, what also happens here in relationship is you start to have a different relationship with yourself, which then allows you to vibrate at a different vibration, which is quantum physics. So the other pieces that it impacts is the environment, right? Because it creates this desire in me to have an environment that is someone that has longevity, that's able to move and do those things that I want to do. It allows me to set up and put things in my brain, whether it's what I watch or listen to, that help me get excited about it and not live in fear. It also can impact your contribution to your community, right? You start to realize you're part of something greater. I'm impacting my grandsons, which will then also have a ripple effect onto the community. It allows me to be more generous and intentional in what I do because I'm actually seeking out other people now to go ski with versus just going by myself or having my one friend that I typically go with. And it impacts my financial and my career because it reminds me that that's part of the beauty of owning my own business is that I can take time in the morning to go ski. And financially, it's not cheap to ski. So financially, being able to have the finances to help pay for my son and my grandchildren and the equipment and everything that they need in order to enjoy myself up on the mountain when I'm 80. So it impacts all of those different things. So when you think about this too, it also then makes my actions more clear. I'm more tapped into my intuition and I'm more aligned with what I want. And big goals require big identity shifts, right? I mentioned that earlier. And the identity shifts show up in all sorts of different places. So let's take a moment if you're driving or whatever, don't close your eyes, but I just take a moment and take a deep breath in. And I want you to imagine a goal that's so delicious, so expansive for you that even thinking about it stretches you in a good way. And really notice where you feel this in your body. Do you feel excitement? Do you feel some fear? Do you maybe feel both? Because here's the thing, fear and excitement feel the same way in the body. So if you do feel excited, but you also feel a little bit of fear or apprehension, you feel both of them, that's perfect. It means it's big enough. So when we think about this being big enough, like taking a deep breath and really embodying this and putting our arms around it, we have to uncover and realize that there are subconscious messages, that there is an underlying belief system that this goal sits on, right? So many of us grew up with messages like, don't get your hopes up or be realistic. People like us don't do those types of things. Or it's selfish to want more. You're not being humble. You're not being gracious or have gratitude for what you do have. And another one I hear a lot, maybe not in these exact words, is don't shine too brightly. You're too big. Don't like show up big. Because what happens is when we hear those messages, our subconscious, remember, is wired to keep us safe. So it's trying to protect us from expansion, not because it wants to sabotage us, but because it equates expansion with risk. And here's the deal, big, juicy goals aren't a threat. It just means your nervous system hasn't caught up yet. So the work is in rewiring. It's in rewiring our identity, supported by emotions, supported by feeling safe, supported by beliefs that we have or needing to shift certain beliefs. And they all come down to the fact that we want to love and be belonged or we want to belong and be loved. So when we align these, our subconscious then becomes our ally instead of fighting us every step of the way. It starts finding shortcuts and connections and opportunities, and it sees things it didn't see before. It starts leading us toward the goal instead of away from it. So, my friends, here's the invitation. Set some big, juicy, soul-led goals. The ones that scare you because they're true. The ones that stretch you because they're aligned. The ones that activate your emotions, your imagination, want you to like shift up things in your identity, and it really creates this desire. So get out a journal or a piece of paper and ask yourself, what do I want so deeply it feels like a remembering? What desires live in my body, not just my mind? And who do I become when I manifest this? Now, I also ask you to think about, what does your mind say you're going to lose if you gain this? Because usually 99.9% of the time, those are untruths, but our brain wants to keep us so safe that it becomes a little insidious and comes up with those. And then the last question I want you to think about is taking some deep breaths and imagining yourself feeling that, seeing yourself doing and being that person, and really embody that identity now. Now, here's the other thing. Don't keep these goals or goal to yourself. Come join our Build Her group on Facebook. It's a community of women who dream big, we cheer loudly, we celebrate boldly, and we support each other without hesitation. You'll get some accountability, there's coaching, training, visibility, and a sisterhood of other women who want to see you rise. You don't have to do this alone. We weren't wired to do things alone. So if you have a big, juicy goal, share it, but be conscious that people are hearing you through their own filters. So some people might say you're crazy. They might try to change which direction you want to go, but you have a deep knowing. So be conscious of their filters when you're also sharing. So set the big, juicy goal, feel it, embody them, become them, and let's build this next version of your life together. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next time. That's a wrap for this conversation. I'm so glad you've joined us. Remember to subscribe to the podcast so you can catch all of our future episodes, and visit us at thelituplife.com for details on how you can become part of the Lit Up Life community. A quick shout out to my friend Jackie Wilson and her friends, the creators of our amazing theme music. Thanks so much for allowing us to share this perfect song with our listeners. Looking forward to having you listen in to our next episode.